Well, the president not digging the international trade imbalance that's been ripping us off for decades. So here he is yesterday in the Rose Garden announcing the big news. Clip one.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy.
So there you go. Okay, and what is he telling you? Hey, we're trying to bring back manufacturing jobs, put some cash in your pocket, which by all accounts is a great thing for the American worker. In the prisoner of the moment mentality that the media is constantly immersed in, they're constantly trying to sell you on the idea that the way you feel today is the only way you're ever going to feel again. Meaning, well, he announced the tariffs, the market's down, so that just means the market goes down forever till we're killing ourselves and eating each other in the street and peeing on each other for heat because the energy markets have collapsed. None of that is happening. But that's the hysteria that they try to manufacture in response to everything Trump does. But understand, in this instance, the actual plundering of our resources, the actual decimation of our working class, it's already taken place. Okay, it's not happening today. It's been happening over the course of the past 4 decades when we've been getting ripped off in trade, when things like NAFTA came along and outsourced labor. Politics today, in a nutshell, is the establishment people in Washington who spent the last 4 decades sending your jobs overseas want you to be mad at the guy who's trying to bring them back.
When you're right, you're right, and you're right.
And bringing them back might cost you some short-term pain. But to be honest with you, you've been enduring long-term pain for the last 4 decades. When you look at wages versus the rate of inflation, we're making less money now. To live, if your parents, okay, there's a crazy chart. We covered this on America's Newsroom the other day, I believe. To live at the level of lifestyle a family enjoyed in 1982, okay, in 1982, if you made $30,000 in household income in 1982, to live at that same level in 2025, meaning your 2-bedroom house with your 1 bathroom, your 60 by 100 foot lot, you have 2 kids, you have 2 cars, they go to public school. You could do that with a $30,000 a year salary in 1982. In 2025, you need to be making $167,000 a year.
This could be a problem.
The problem being, yeah, I don't doubt some households make that money. Mine didn't for most of my adult life. I mean, you know this. When Lincoln was born, I was driving a cab. I actually was making such a small amount of money that we got audited because they didn't believe we could survive on the amount of money we were making, okay? Because I had a lot of write-offs because of fuel receipts because I was a cab driver, so I wasn't showing a ton of income, but I wasn't making a ton of income, so it's not like I could hide it. I just didn't have it to show them, you know? And Jenny was out of work at the time. She had been a nanny for a while, and, you know, I understand that for a lot of people out there, they're not making $167,000 a year, which means, you know, home ownership is beyond the grasp of better than half the country right now. It's a whole generation of kids right now growing up, okay, that may feel like they'll never own a home. Now they will. Things will pick up. You'll get a partner. You know, you'll work on your finances. You'll get there. You just got to do the work. But understand, I'm 48 years old. The house I live in, I bought when I was like 40. So I didn't own a home till I was 40. Because that's how expensive it is to live in this country in this day and age. And it wasn't always the case, okay? My parents bought a house and they were in their early 20s. A lot of people listening around the country where it's a little more affordable might have bought that house a little bit younger, where the property taxes weren't as prohibitive as they are here in New York. But what Trump is basically trying to do is course correct a trade imbalance that's been decimating our middle class for decades. And they're trying to tell you all over TV today that this is the gut punch to the middle class. No. The middle class has been getting hit by a Sugar Ray Leonard barrage of punches for the last 4 decades. The outsourcing of labor, the rising rate of inflation, the interest rates that are back up, the runaway spending in Washington that's driven taxes through the roof.
Thanks, big government weenuses.
And here he is just laying down the bare truth. Okay, the people we call our friends in air quotes are the ones who have been ripping us off. Clip 2.
None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that friend and foe. And in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Okay, foreign automobiles. And he's not done yet. But what is he talking about? Our industrial base. How many people listening right now are driving through a town where there used to be a factory? Where the downtown used to be a little more vibrant, where there was a more robust middle class and quality of life? Probably most of you. I've been in every state in America. I've done stand-up in every town, anything you can think of. I've been to Enid, Oklahoma, Chisholm Trail Expo Center. Probably my favorite gig I've ever done in my life. Not for good reasons, but it was fantastic. We had the best time ever. But here's more Trump. Clip 3.
We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first.
So understand, okay, he's trying to make you the priority in a way that Washington hasn't in a couple of decades. And you can tell me, oh, I don't like what the market's doing, or this is going to raise the cost of stuff. It's a negotiating window. And the good news is that the countries that are being hit with these tariffs need access to our economy a lot more than we need access to theirs, which means in this negotiation, we have a little more of the leverage. Okay, and the bigger priority here in the Trump administration is he is in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change the way Washington does business. Now, is he going to pull it off completely? No, he's not. Okay, when Donald Trump leaves office, if the successor to his legacy is not just as MAGA as he is, then the traditional establishment politicians are going to come back along and they're going to re-implement more of a globalist mentality when it comes to the economy. They're going to spend our way into more inflation and they're going to outsource more labor. Why? Because things are going to cost so much, you're going to want them cheaper. And the way to get them cheaper is to manufacture them overseas. That's how we got into this mess. We're like, you can go on Temu and buy a sofa for $1. That sounds good, right? Yeah, some third grader over in China's making it in the factory. You buy it nice and cheap over here. Okay, but those third graders shouldn't have those jobs. They should be paying adult wages to Americans, and you should be buying the damn sofa here in America. Okay, that's the point. That's what we're trying to do here. We're working long con. And is it a kick in the nuts today when you look at the market? It feels that way. But it doesn't matter to me. If I go driving through towns next year and the factories are reopening and the downtowns are flourishing and people have money again, cheap goods are great, but if you don't have a job, they're not cheap. If you got a job, everything gets a little more affordable, and that would be the goal. And everybody trying to tell you this is some hothead, spur of the moment, Trump's a loony, there's not a plan. Trump has been talking about this on TV since 1988. Okay, if you go back, you could watch this on YouTube. I'll play it for you right now. Okay, he was on with Oprah in 1988, explaining the same stance then that he is enacting right now. And why did he have that stance then the way he does now? Because it's still the same inequity when it comes to trade. We have the big economy. We pay a lot more money to do business in their countries than they do in ours. Why? You understand? You think about that. Imagine just put it this way in high school. When you're first in high school and not a lot of kids have cars yet. Okay, but you do. Imagine you're the kid with the car. Okay, and everybody wants to be your friend. You have a car. And if you're like a ninth grader, it's cool to have a buddy with a car driving around. Okay, you're going to get some scantily clad women in the car.
Hubba, hubba.
Okay, nothing makes you cooler quicker than a car. Okay, I had a buddy, Jason King. Great guy. Little nerdy at the time. But the minute he got a car, oh my goodness gracious. That dude never drove a mile again without a pair of boobs in his face.
I love it when you talk dirty.
Never. Oh my God, you get a car in high school and you're one of the early adapters? You were the man. Okay, and you understand if that's the case, you don't have to go out and pay underclassmen to come ride around in the back of your car everybody suddenly wants to be in. There's demand to be in your Buick Regal, Jason King. Okay, but in this instance, that's what our trade relationships are. We have the car. We have the boobs. We have the fake ID. And the idea that we're going to go out there and give money to the other countries who want access to those things, I mean, dude.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
And that's what Trump is doing. Here it is on Oprah, 1988. So this might be fat Oprah. She swung a lot in those decades. She's kind of like the Elvis of daytime TV. You get skinny Elvis, fat Elvis. I think this is fat Oprah, but bear with me. Clip 4.
What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
It is a joke, and that's what Trump is basically saying when he looks out at the world. He's been saying it for nearly 40 years. Those trade imbalances haven't gotten better in the last 37 years since he said that. They've gotten worse. But knowing where the people with the big economy and the leverage, and knowing it's our people who are suffering, he's trying to wield the leverage that he has. And to be honest with you, you shouldn't be mad at Trump for trying to bring back jobs. You should be mad at the a-holes who sold them out overseas for the last 4 decades. Joining me now is someone who will be on stage with me April 19th in Mohican, Pennsylvania. The K-train has rolled into the station, and the crowd just goes absolutely wild. I mean, listen to this crowd.
And they're violent.
And they're not happy about it. These are worked up people.
Ozempic is too expensive, so I just switched to Appalachian meth.
Because it's gluten-free. You have celiac.
It's gluten-free, yeah.
You can't. Not the regular Florida meth that I brought you back was useless.
I'm on zero sugar Appalachian meth.
I flew all the way down.
So far, it's working. I've got these sores all over my torso. Those will probably go away with a little cortisone cream.
Did you wash the pot before you cooked it? Haven't we talked about this? Damn it! Sometimes the boiling water doesn't get the job done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
April 19th, Mohican, Pennsylvania. If you're listening, any of our brand spanking new affiliates, EEU, any of them. Why would you not get up, TRW? Why would you not? Okay, you're right there in Scranton. Get over
Scranton.
to Mohican.
We got Philly.
Come on.
We got Reading.
PHT. Okay, anywhere in Pennsylvania.
We got problems. Come on over and hear about it.
We got it all.
Yeah.
The Slots and Sluts tour. Why won't the casino let us use that lineage?
It's not going to pay for itself.
If somebody actually hung up a poster that said the Slots and Sluts tour, I think we'd sell more tickets.
Yeah, I would stop. I'd be very intrigued.
I believe right now we're like 150 seats from a sellout. We're very close to selling out, and we'll sell it out by April 19th. That's the point. We've promoted it well.
We will.
But the point is, it's a huge venue. But
the people of Pennsylvania deserve this,
yes,
frankly.
They do. On Easter weekend, no less. We are, for a lot of you, I don't want to call it midnight mass because we'll be on a little bit earlier than that. But there'll be plenty of revelations.
We can prime your pump for midnight mass.
Thank you. You know, it's funny.
Go get a little communion, a little resurrection.
You don't need the Stations of the Cross if you've got the Stations of the Buffet. Okay, that's the nice thing.
That's where you start and you can end at mass.
Stations of the Buffet, then you do the Station of the Cross. I go to midnight mass. I've been there. I've done all this stuff, the Easter Vigil.
I mean, you told me you're going to pull over and make us go to midnight mass, which I think is lovely, Jim.
Yes, we're going to be praying to the rub and tug gods, me, you, and the tour manager. So I will tell you, so much fun things going on in the media. But April 19th, if you go to the Mohican website, Mohican, PA, you will get tickets to see me and Kennedy. There is a meet and greet on sale.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
I think we have 5 meet and greets left.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, if you're trying to get one of them, you got to move now.
No, the numbers are against you, but you have a shot.
Yeah, you do have a shot. And
I mean, it's like, it's not as good as my older daughter getting into Harvard.
Harvard State. Let's be honest. It's Harvard State. Harvard Community College. It's
She's going to be like Tim Wall's daughter. Like, I got into Harvard, but I'm so not going.
I'm gonna, yeah, because of my privilege or whatever the
my
hell she
white
said.
privilege will not allow me to go to a school that doesn't let kids freely associate. Oh, so you're standing up for Jewish students? No.
No.
The Hamas terrorists, like they have to be able to speak their mind.
Time was you could barricade a janitor inside a municipal building you took over, or
Threaten to kill him.
bar Jewish students from campus.
Yeah.
Where's the right to free expression? And we always joke about this through the lens of comedy, because I remember when the Ivy League was banning comedy. Like, we can't have comedy. Speech is violence.
No, awful.
Gosh.
How dare you?
We're not going to have people.
We don't have enough safe spaces for your
but
filth.
safe spaces. You remember safe spaces?
Yes.
We got a portion of the campus here where there's not going to be jokes because it might hurt someone's feelings.
Triggered right now.
Now, space is limited because we also have a Kill the Jews rally on the other side of the quad. So we've got the people for hurt feelings.
We're going to cut your balls off if you say any of that cis-normative nonsense ever again.
So stay out of our safe space. And I got to run. I'm going.
Tolerance lives here.
Thank you. Coexist, unless they're Jewish. Coexist, everybody. It's the dumbest time to be alive.
It really is.
So I was laughing about this before you came on. We were talking about the Biden thing. This book.
It's the best thing ever.
Retroactive ass covering. But I love the revelations in the book.
Yeah.
There's this death of shame aspect in the sense that the media is reacting to this as like, oh, really?
What?
Wait, that went on?
Yeah.
So they didn't know. If only there were some signs. The man shaking hands with invisible people.
Yeah, it's like Bill Clinton was a horn dog.
Wait, what? There was.
He hit on an attractive intern? What?
Who knew?
Chubby and kind of trashy?
Oh, God.
That doesn't sound like him.
Don't you put down my Monica. I loved Monica Lewinsky.
I love her too.
'Cause she was every girl I grew up with on Long Island.
She and her story
Yeah.
have aged perfectly.
Oh, just the best.
The whole thing. She doesn't give any Fs.
No, she doesn't have to.
Ugh.
Are you kidding me? And once she got that cover on Cigar Aficionado, it's like there was no turning. Which is not true. Which is not true, Jimmy. Come on, why would you do that?
That would have been Trump at McDonald's drive-through level marketing.
But instead, we're just over here joking about it.
That's not right.
It's not right. Monica deserved better.
She did.
But so the Biden thing, the one thing I was laughing about, I love this. There's so many dynamics to this that I love. But the first one, the makeup one, is pretty funny because he was getting makeup before Zooms and then not going to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that was a mess. It was Lloyd Bridges and Hot Shots. How are you, Chuck? Hawaii? Shoot, I'm supposed to be in New Mexico. That whole thing. But we knew that in real time. But then there was the other one.
That's like me coming to Fox on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I need full hair and makeup. I'm going to be on TV. Not just going out to
Could you guys give us some makeup?
bachelorette party.
I didn't even know where it was.
I need lashes and extensions.
Did you read the one? You did this on the 5 yesterday. Did you guys do this story?
Yeah.
You were on the 5. You were on with Elon Musk yesterday.
I know. That was like a late ad. And it was a lot of pressure because one of the producers called and was like, it's kind of a surprise. It's a big deal. Everyone gets to ask him one question.
Love it.
And, he was like, what's your question going to be? And I was like, what do you ask the richest man in the world?
Well,
and I kept thinking about, like, if I were a kid and I got to ask the richest man in the world a question, what would it be? Because I would want to, normally I'd be like, okay, what was your most extravagant FU purchase ever? But he's not like a buying things guy.
He's not that guy.
He's not like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I bought a $500 million yacht just because. And I filled it with my khakis.
And then I bought my wife the Borat mankini for the presidential inauguration. She wore it right to the Capitol. It was amazing. I like movie props. What can I tell you?
She wanted to hold the Lincoln Bible between her boobs.
And she could. And she could. It was crazy. But yeah, so you asked him about his involvement with government and subsidies and stuff like that?
No, I asked him about the anti-Tesla violence.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
And how you talk people off the ledge who were that suggestible, and they prey on the mentally deficient to do these things. And it's like, how do you walk that back? How do you talk the unhinged off the cliff?
Okay.
And he was like, this is domestic terrorism.
And it is, straight up.
He was real fired up, and he said, we're going to find out who these generals are, because it's people who are orchestrating all of this.
Yep.
And I said, do you know who the generals
yes, and he
are?
said yes.
Yes.
And he said yes. Well, it's funny because as you're saying this, there are reports out. Politico's reporting that he's stepping down. Daily Mail's reporting that he did. But Caroline Levitt said no, fake news. Just tweeted fake news. So I don't know that he has stepped down yet, but apparently Trump is telling his cabinet he will step down soon because they believe they like the work he's doing, but he's become a political liability. But I don't think that. I think he's an asset for Trump because Trump is not incurring the wrath of these people.
Yes. But is it going to cost them the midterms?
Yeah.
That's all they're looking at because of the Wisconsin election.
Yes.
That is the only thing.
But can you give me this? And I didn't see him get into this. He kind of mentioned this, that both parties can be guilty of this at times, the malfeasance and the spending and everything like that. I would imagine there's not a very big appetite anywhere in government, meaning either party, for what he's doing. Because if you unturn enough slates, you're going to realize there were a lot of Republicans that were probably involved in a lot of this malfeasance.
This is like high-waisted pants.
Yeah.
You know, and as a woman with the long waist, like it doesn't work for me. And this is me waiting for that moment to pass where we can get back to like low slung pants. So it's like everyone in Washington is like, this Doge trend sucks.
Yep.
This is the worst fad ever in Washington. We have to pretend it's amazing and we all wear it well.
Yeah.
But we all hate it.
Yep.
And it
All of
feels stupid. And we just want to protect our sacred cows.
Amen. Because you want to know something? And it's spot on. You don't wind up $36 trillion in debt because one party has a spending problem.
No.
It's all.
I mean, Paul Ryan was like, we have to cut spending. We have to cut entitlement spending. We have to cut spending, defense, like across the board, wherever we can, or we are going to face a debt crisis that we will not be able to service, and our economy will implode. And he got so frustrated, he's like, screw it, I'm out. This is dumb, and I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, because no one was serious about it.
No.
He actually took people at their word that, like when the Tea Party was a thing, that if they got into power, they were going to cut
That's
spending.
how I felt about Doge. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes.
Finally, it took this.
Yeah. I thought it was like the greatest moment in the history of our republic.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is they're just running clock. This is the Giants-Bills 91 Super Bowl where they were just trying to keep the Bills offense off the field. That's what all these appellate courts are. They're just trying to run clock, get a little bit less done. That's why it's also...
Or Jim Kelly.
Yeah, they don't want the Thurman Thomas. I don't know who's who in this offense. Andre Reed, who got his house burnt down. Oh, that was Andre Rison. That was
Andre Rison,
by Left Eye Lopez. But the point is...
God rest her soul.
God rest her soul. TLC. But as we sit here and watch this play out, you're right to say they can't get him out of there quick enough. And specifically Republicans too. And I can't imagine how many people are in Trump's ear about that. You know this is bad for you. You know it's dragging down your polls, right?
Congressional Republicans were excited about it. They would be... They couldn't write bills fast enough, and they're really not doing.
They're not doing anything. It's all executive orders that'll get repealed if he loses an election.
Yeah,
that's why they were probably thrilled last night that Wisconsin in the special election, the Democrats won that court. You know, the court seat, because they can go to Trump today and be like, dude, this guy's killing you.
Yeah.
You can't, look at all the money he spent. He's killing you.
Yeah.
And then Trump's like, oh, I don't want to get killed. I guess I'll get rid of the guy.
Nah, this was a red state like 3 months ago, bro.
And then the money keeps getting spent. Because that's what it is. And I think it sucks if this is the case, but Trump might be forced to relearn a lesson from his first term. Do you remember in his first term, Trump became
he appointed Omarosa.
I'd take her over half of these people now. In his first term, if you remember, he ascended to the presidency after 8 years of Republicans vowing to repeal and replace Obamacare, and found out after $1 trillion in fundraising, or whatever the hell the number was, they didn't have a plan.
No.
They never had a plan.
And I was one of those people who assumed like, oh, you know, it's like George W. Bush and Tony Blair, they know where the WMD are.
Yeah.
Like they know, they wouldn't say it if they didn't. And I was like, there's so many doctors in Congress. Bill, what's his name? And John Barrasso. Like there's so many doctors in both houses. I'm like, the Republican doctors absolutely have a plan, and they're spearheading this whole thing, and it's going to be awesome because they're going to reprivatize the part of healthcare that absolutely should be.
Yep. Force some competition into the marketplace, maybe lower premiums. But no, they raised $1 billion, $2 billion, and didn't have a plan.
That's just how white folks will do you.
Straight up. Kennedy is in studio.
Michelle?
Kennedy is in studio. April 19th. We're going to be in Mohegan, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we are.
It's a fantastic venue.
It's not a family event, though. I would love to sell tickets to the kids.
No.
I wish we had a petting zoo to keep them occupied.
Your green room's a heavy petting zoo, as they know. Hey, zing!
Not since Diddy took all the lube for the freak offs.
Still more baby oil. Time was. You can't
I
get
gotta
much.
find some federal law enforcement to
Yeah, this
give me a
ain't-
few of those bottles
This
back.
ain't right. Do we have any volunteers in the audience? Anybody like that? Come on, talk to me. So I wouldn't be shocked if he winds up leaving because there's tremendous. When you talk about bipartisan support for something, it's not cutting spending.
No,
They do.
obviously, because they wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's dismantling government. Like, if you're mentally disabled, he's taking your Social Security first.
This is my favorite thing about how disingenuous the Democrats are. It's like, look at the Cory Booker filibuster. So many angles to dissect this from, including the clip I played 5 minutes ago of him talking about how the filibuster is a racist relic of the Jim Crow South and we need to do away with it. That was, of course, 2022
But it wasn't even
Booker.
a filibuster.
No kidding.
He's so dumb.
It's just a grandstand. But the point is, what is he actually protesting? What they're doing right now? Because his clip was, in the past, they've been using the filibuster as the minority party to oppose the will of the people. But what Trump is trying to get done is the will of the people. If you're
Yes.
talking about deportations or cutting spending. But he said for 25 hours. I think it was a plot because he spoke 24 hours.
When did he go pee-pee?
I don't know. He claims he was severely dehydrated and malnourished and didn't, but I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, so he was up there the whole time. I just
Yes.
assumed that he had someone tapping in for 3 minutes at a time, like
I guess
Ted Cruz.
I don't know the
reading
answer.
Green eggs and ham.
Josh will look into that. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this was just a plot.
Did he have the stadium pal?
I don't know the answer to that. We're going to look into it.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I know we sell external catheters here on Fox News.
He did not. No potty breaks.
Wow. He had a catheter.
He had a hung up. Maybe he was wearing those Jerry Nadler pants. You know, the old DIY.
I want to scratch and sniff those today,
Oh, no,
Corey.
you don't. No, you don't. But I laugh. But I think he might have achieved his goal, though, because he's finally gotten people to write the words Cory Booker and straight in the same sentence. So, if nothing else.
Because he was seen as being so crooked.
Yeah.
Before. Now,
That's what I was saying.
A straight shooter.
Have you ever seen him on the road? He was a regular Justin Timberlake, sometimes even swerving to the bathhouses if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I was just peeing. Yeah, me too. I was just peeing too.
At least he was at some point. I was just tapping my foot. My wide stance.
Something about Mary. Remember the Harlan Williams?
Step into my office. Why? Because you're fired.
Do you remember when he picks up the hitchhiker and he winds up with like a murderer
Oh, yeah.
in a bathhouse? What a great movie.
7-minute abs.
7 minute. No, man. 7 minute abs. The best. Well, people have said our comedy show is the 7-minute ab equivalent.
Yeah. I mean, your belly's going to be aching.
Yeah, you're gonna get beaten. We're going hard. I'm so excited for the show.
I mean, you're not going to be laughing. We're literally going to punch you
No,
in
we
the
actually
gut.
beat people up. It's like now that they're deporting Tren de Aragua from our town, we've taken over the gang beatings, and that's you come by, we'll pickpocket you at the meet and greet. You'll get hit with a billy club.
You'll feel right at home.
Listen, any comic can kill on stage. We're gonna kill on stage. I can't wait. The K Train. I'll see you April 19th.
You know it, Jim.